Hi, everybody. My name's Nick. Welcome to this Tiger Technology webinar. I'm very glad that you could join us today. I'm very pleased to say that I'm joined here today with Paul from Tiger Technology. Hi, Paul. Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
We have Georgi, one of the solutions engineers from Tiger Technology, who's going to be doing a demo a little bit later on.
Hello, everyone.
And also, finally, our special guest today, Daniel, CTO of EVNY Post-Production. Daniel, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us today. So much appreciated.
No problem. Hello, everyone.
Brilliant. Okay. As I said, so what I'm going to do is pop through a quick agenda with you guys today and cover off some of the finer points of Tiger Technology. An overview of the Tiger Box, which is their shared storage appliance, take you through Store, Spaces, Bridge, and Spaces MAAM, and then also give you a quick overview of some Tiger Box deployments. And then I'll be introducing again Paul and Daniel, and Daniel's going to have a chat about how EVNY Post use, a little bit about EVNY Post, and also then about how they use Tiger Technology. And then Georgi is going to give us a quick overview of the user interface for Store, Spaces, and a little bit of Spaces MAAM. And then we'll take some questions at the end. I'm sure during the presentation you'll all have some burning questions that you want to ask members of the team here. So beneath the presentation screen, you can see there's a text box. Hopefully you have a keyboard in front of you, and you can tap in furiously any questions that you might have. So it'd be great to get those, and we'll address those at the end. Hoping to get everything wrapped up in about 30 to 40 minutes, depending on how much I waffle. So just a quick note to say, this is the first in 3 webinars coming on the 15th. We have one that's going to delve more into Spaces and Spaces MAAM, same time, same place. And then on the 22nd also, we're going to take a deeper dive into Tiger Bridge and cloud workflows, again, at same time and same place. But without further ado, let's go and tell you a little bit more about Tiger Technology. So for those who aren't aware, Tiger have been developing high-performance software solutions since 2004. They have over 30,000 users currently in 120 countries. And their portfolio consists of SAN and NAS file sharing software, virtual project management software, continuous data management software with HSM functionality, and media asset management module. And just note that that they're a very long-term partner of ours, dating back to 2006. I think there was a fateful IBC where our paths crossed. So the Tiger Box, it's a high-performance SAN in a box. It's incredibly easy to configure with an easy-to-use web UI. Pretty standard configurations: 3U16 bay, 4U24 bay, performance up to 4 gigabytes a second out of the chassis. And there's loads of options for additional I/O. So we tend to configure them with 4 10GB ports, SFP or RJ45 as standard, but we can have gigabit, 10 gigabit, 25 gig, 40 gig. And as you'll see, we can also add SAS I/O interfaces for other applications. As you'd expect from a system like this, it can be expanded up to 4 with an additional 4 expansion systems, and it comes all pre-installed, pre-configured with the software and tested. We integrate WD, I should say, UltraStars and SSDs. One of the key advantages of Tiger is their support, which is often, a lot of my customers, widely recognized as some of the best in the industry. It's 24/7/365, and that's online, email, and telephone support. So that's another big bonus for customers. So I'm just going to go through the couple of software modules. Tiger Store, that's their scale-out metadata controller, which allows smooth cross-platform sharing between Mac, Windows, and Linux workstations. It's got some neat tricks with automatic defragmentation and optimization of image files, so image sequences, DPX, EXR, etc. One of the key things about it is its ability to provide a block level connection over IP. So what that means is that your Mac or Windows or Linux workstation believes that volume, the Tiger Box volume, is local to it. So it is a SAN solution. but with the ease of use of IP. As I said, it's very easy to use web UI, and we have optional AVID bin locking support as well. Spaces, this is the storage administration layer. The easiest way I tell to people to think of Spaces as a virtual folder. So the administrator creates the virtual folders, which are the projects. They can assign individuals or groups to those projects. And then so that's a really simple way of small facilities, medium facilities that don't potentially have large network admins to be able to easily assign user access permissions so that users only see the data that they're entitled to see, especially important maybe if there's a lot of freelancers coming in and out of a facility, or kind of competing customer projects, etc. One of the other really neat things about the product is that these virtual folders are not tied to the physical hardware they're sat on. So if you have multiple volumes on your Tiger box, then you can move the projects seamlessly from volume to volume in the background, and that is made possible by the clever technology behind it, which keeps the mount points persistent for the virtual volume. And of course, the other thing is thin provisioning, IT term, but to you and I, that means that you can easily allocate quotas to users. So you can allocate 20, 30, 50, whatever, how many terabytes to specific users, and enforce those quotas. Spaces MAAM, as the name suggests, this is a full-blown MAAM additional module. So it does everything you would expect from a MAAM these days. The clients are completely web browser based, which is great for remote collaboration, especially in the current climate. Key features, obviously, search and catalog. It has an inbuilt web-based video editor as well. You can ingest files in it that can either be local within a facility, or of course, because it's web-based, that can be remote. And of course, you can export XML for Adobe, Final Cut X, DaVinci, and export AFF for AVID integration. You can also export directly to social media, so YouTube, etc. So it makes it also quite an ideal package for news, sports, and social media platforms. The final software module I'm going to talk about is Bridge. So Bridge is their continuous data protection management solution. And this is effectively a data tiering system. So we can see that we have our Tiger box here, applications sitting, connecting to it, and storage disk. And data can be tiered or moved to another NAS, an LTO library, or cloud. Tiered data can be stubbed, so the files can be replaced by a 0-byte stub file that is easily identifiable as being an offline file. So all the files within the Tiger file system appear there. They can be searched and clicked on to be pulled back. So this helps reduce your storage costs. When going to the cloud, as you'll see in our final webinar that actually focuses entirely on Bridge, we'll see how that can be used to trigger proxy transcodes for proxies, facial recognition, object recognition, etc. I'm just going to run through a few very quick Tiger box examples. As I said at the start, we can pack an awful lot of capacity connectivity onto the back of a Tiger box. So you could have up to 20 10 gig Ethernet connections, or 10 25 gig Ethernet connections. So you can have a lot of direct connect clients. You can add an expansion. You can have some sort of hero seats directly connected to the Tiger box for sort of higher performance, and then go to a switched infrastructure to connect other clients at a lower bit rate. And as I mentioned before, we can obviously scale out as a picture of a single head unit, and then with the 4 Tiger box expansion systems. We're currently supporting 18 terabyte drives, which is a rather whopping 2 petabytes technically that you could have in a single system with the current generation of disks. Global work with Spectral Logic, and we've worked with Tiger to put together a bundle for their Tiger Bridge product to Spectral Logic libraries. Probably the most interesting of that would be the Stack, which is a 6U library, so 80 slots 6U with LTO 8 drives is up to 960 terabytes if you populated it full of media. And what Bridge does, again, it moves data from the Tiger box to the library, and again, those files can be stubbed to reclaim the space on the Tiger box. So you could have a 64 terabyte Tiger box with 960 terabytes of tape media for sort of archive or backup purposes. We can apply the same logic but to the cloud. So we can go again from a Tiger box to the cloud. Tiger support AWS, Azure, IBM, Google, Backblaze, Wasabi. And in fact, any S3 compliant storage device. Again, data can be tiered, it can be stubbed. One of the more interesting factors about the cloud is we can use the features of the cloud to also do versioning, undelete, and protect against ransomware attacks by kind of having a rollback time machine type function. The other interesting thing that Tiger to do is with their remote bridge sync licenses. So you can have remote clients that can connect to the same cloud bucket as the Tiger box, and data can be, the sync client can see all the data that's in the cloud that's on the Tiger box, and that data can be pulled down to that remote workstation, worked on it, and pushed back to the cloud, and hence synced with the Tiger box. So I hear you all furiously typing on your keyboards. How much for all this fantastic functionality? Well, just to give you a quick snapshot of MSRPs, I'm not going to dwell too much on this, but 64 terabytes, including those 4 10 gig Ethernet interfaces, Tiger Store spaces, and the AVID support in sterling, a little under 19,000. The Tiger box for you with those high capacity 18 terabyte disks, 432 terabytes raw, again with the 10 gig, with the store spaces and AVID support, a little under 35,000. And then just to call out, let's just quickly pick one of these Spectra stack bundles. Again, 2 drives, 80 slots, the bridge licenses, all your SAS cables, installation, everything you need in one part number, no media. Worth pointing out, just a smidgen under 36,000 sterling list. So, and of course, you've got your dollars and euros there for our guests that are joining us from Europe and the US. But I fear I've waffled on far too long. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we'll go back to the group. And I'm going to hand over to Paul and Daniel to take the presentation onwards.
Great, thank you very much, Nick. And I'd just like to say, you know, all that time we've been working, quality of that presentation and depth of knowledge of the product. So great pleasure to work with Global, and I'm sure that's a fantastic asset for us to have. Thank you very much indeed. Also delighted to have one of our longer term customers here today. As Nick introduced, Daniel Sassen, who is CTO of MV Post. So Daniel, for those people who don't know you and don't know MV, could you take a few minutes to introduce yourself and the company, and maybe talk a little bit about what services you offer?
Oh, is he muted?
Am I muted?
Oh, no, you're back. You're there.
Right. Sorry. Yeah, I've been involved with MV from the beginning and helped build it up over the last 14 years from scratch. And after several phases of rapid expansion, we've ended up being one of the larger post-production houses in the UK. And we have over 200 edit suites and studios now across 6 buildings, which are all in central London. And MV is a company that provides post-production services for creating long-form and short-form television and streaming content. Very often companies will specialize in possibly just visual effects or just audio or film, but we do advertising and long-form television across from beginning to end, really.
Brilliant, thank you very much. And just quickly, for the benefit of everybody, how long have you been a customer of Tiger Technology?
I think, it's a long time. I think it's over 10 years.
Excellent. Okay. And I understand perhaps one of the reasons that you have been a long-time customer in that respect is that you highly value the level of support, technical support, etc., that you get from Tiger. So that's something that Nick mentioned a bit earlier from a lot of our customers. So can you tell us a little bit about the Tiger products, how you deploy them, and how they're utilized in your workflow?
Sure. So in terms of the services we offer our clients, basically we all meet with them before the shoot to advise on choice of camera and workflow. And the choice of camera is crucial because you have to choose which codecs they're going to use. And very often these days, with the camera resolutions increasing, 4K, 6K, 8K, and the shoot ratios increasing, then we can have hundreds or thousands of hours of footage coming in. And so there's enormous amounts of rushes that we need to store. And our workflow involves storing those rushes on nearline. So we had to choose a product that was going to be extremely scalable and cost effective, which is why we chose Tiger. Tiger do obviously offer their storage now, but the solution we had were two Tiger boxes, and we were able to add our own storage to that. So we have on the back end we have a fiber channel, and that links to generic storage that we are free to choose any brand that we want. And on the front end we have a switch coming off that, which allows us to connect many 10 gig clients. And so the workflow is once we've hopefully advised the clients and they've chosen the codec that suits their budget, as it were, because obviously the higher qualities are demanded these days for many of the deliverables. And once they've done that and they come back from the shoot, we'll copy all of that to our nearline. And we have the two Tiger box solutions because we replicate the data. And so we keep two copies of the rushes, and we have them at different sites, which are on different substations, and we've essentially created our own private cloud at MB across the 6 buildings.
Yeah.
And the rushes will be copied onto the Tiger store, and then will be replicated overnight, so that we have the 2 copies for the next day.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. I'm guessing that's a workflow that many people find fairly familiar. Well, what sort of applications are you running? Are you able to tell us that?
Yeah, so a lot of the transcoding is done from the rushes for offline resolution, and we will use AVID Media Composer for a lot of that, and Content Agent. And there are some other products, but yeah, those are in the main what we're using.
Okay, wonderful. Daniel, thank you very much for that. You're able to stay around and potentially answer any questions that may come up afterwards. That would be brilliant. Thank you very much. I think now we're going to pass over to my colleague Georgi. Georgi is going to give us a quick overview of Store, Spaces and Bridge, just to give people a flavour of what we've been talking about up to now.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks, Daniel. That was brilliant. Okay, so I will share my screen and do a quick overview of how easy one can set up a Tiger box appliance. Basically, once you have the Tiger appliance up and running in your facility, all you need to do is connect to the IP address. And the first thing that you will have is the Tiger Store interface, from where you can download the client drivers. As you can see, we support various operating systems. I mean, all Mac OS, Windows OS, and some of the most important Linux kernels. Once you install the client driver, you would have a small tray on your taskbar in Windows. And under settings, all you need to do is once again enter the IP address to which you connect to the appliance. And then when you say connect, the shared storage would appear as, the shared storage would appear as a locally mounted disk device on your system. It's absolutely the same on Mac and Linux. Once again, you have the small client tray, and the same volume would be shared to all your client workstations. Now, in terms of administrating Tiger Store, which is the Metadata Controller software, it's a pretty simple process. Basically, the Tiger boxes would come already configured, but if you want, for example, to do some changes from the storage management page of the web GUI, you can share the volume, make it private or offline for maintenance purposes. Once it's shared, under shared volumes, you would have information about your volumes. And here we have one of our features, which is automatic defragmentation and file sequence optimization. And also we have smart pooling where you can merge multiple volumes. For example, if you purchase an expansion chassis or another disk, they will appear as a single drive to all the clients. Since our appliances are closed, under settings, you can do all your settings, add the appliance to an Active Directory domain. You can configure your IP addresses to fit your network. Under maintenance is where you can do upgrades with our firmware. And in the About dialog, we have information about support contacts. And also, we allow remote assistance so that our support can log in and help you with upgrades or if there are any problems with the box. I'll move on to our next software layer, which is Tiger Spaces. Now, Tiger Spaces is our project management software, and it will allow you to create virtual workspaces inside your shared volume and share these workspaces between users in your company. So from administrative part, all you need to do is go under storage and choose the volumes on which you want spaces to run. After that, you need to create the list of users. As you can see, I've already created a list of users. If you're in Active Directory domain, you can add your Active Directory users. Spaces will sync with the Active Directory users. Now I will create a new user. He will be just a user, not an administrator. And I will add this new user, Georgi, to my editors group. The next step for the administrator is to go and create a workspace. Now, workspaces, once again, are created pretty easy. So we have, you put a name. So put a description. You can put a tag for a quick search. And because spaces can grow dynamically, they are basically folders on your shared storage, you can limit them to a certain capacity so that they wouldn't exceed a certain capacity. The essential part here is that there are 3 types of workspaces: single user write, in a way, volume level sharing. AVID Bin Locking works the same way. AVID Bin Locking is the same way as, for example, on AVID Nexus. And multi-user write, where everybody can read and write, as long as you don't give different permissions. Now, for Windows users, you can choose a preferred drive letter. And if you have multiple volumes on NAS shares, you can choose where this workspace would go. I submit the workspace, and now it's somewhere in my list of workspaces. I can quickly use the search option, find the workspace, and now all I need to do as an administrator, I need to share it with my people in the facility. So I would want all my editors to have read and write access. And for example, the VFX people will have read only, and all the other people will not have access to this workspace at all. This is what the editor needs to do. Now I will log out. I can log in with a new user. And you see that he sees all the editor's workspaces. I can choose to mount the workspace that I just created as read and write, because I have read and write. And it will mount on my system as a local drive. There it is, so I can start doing my job. At the same time, on the other workstation, I can log in with another user, and we can collaborate in the same workspace. Now, Spaces is also integrated with a MAAM solution. We have been partnering with IMC MAAM. And the MAAM solution is a fully blown MAAM solution where you can search for clips. So you can put in and out points in clips, make subclips, edit metadata. You can export and convert in different formats and so on. This there will be a more extensive Spaces MAAM demo in a couple of weeks, so you're welcome to see that. On top of that, Nick mentioned about Tiger Bridge. So Tiger Bridge can be also integrated into this system. Like in my case, I'm using Tiger Bridge to replicate and tier data from my SAN to other targets. In this case, I have set Tiger Bridge to replicate all my spaces, workspaces from volume 2 to a NAS location. So this replication is done based on policies, and the policies are the following. I have said that if data is not modified within 1 hour, it will automatically be replicated to my target. So I will have 2 copies. Then I have a second policy which says reclaim space policy, which means that the data will be moved depending on the policies I have here. So if data is not accessed within 4 weeks, or if my disk space exceeds certain percentage, it will be moved, and we leave only a small stub file on the file system. And if this stub file is opened, accessed, the data will be retrieved automatically back on my SAN from the target. There are various targets that you can choose from. So if I click on Add Target, you can see that we have local drive, as mentioned, any NAS, various cloud storages, and we've been partnering for some years now with Spectral Black Pearl, so it's fully supported, and LTO tape device, which would mount your tape devices LTFS. I have also set another folder from my SAN to be replicated to, in this case, to Azure container. And for this folder, I have a synchronize policy, which means that my laptop at home is also connected to the same container. So whatever goes in this folder, my laptop at home will automatically sync the stuff that is on the SAN. I can choose whether to sync only stub files and open these stub files and download the data, or I can choose to sync right away the data to my laptop. As mentioned, Spaces and Store are fully integrated, and Bridge and the MAAM with Bridge. So if I want to override my policies, I can do that either from Spaces. We have like a web browser, and I can choose whether to replicate, reclaim space, retrieve data. Everything is done from the web UI, and it's the same for Spaces. You can choose the Spaces and have your data manually replicated or retrieved from your target. That's a pretty quick overview of the products that we have. Of course, you're welcome for the more extensive demos that we'll have later on.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Georgi.
Thank you. Stop sharing.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. Do you have 1 or 2 questions just come in? So we'd just take a couple of quick questions. Probably one of them my fault a little bit. Someone was asking, obviously been to the website, familiar with Tiger, saying, is it available as software only? Paul, do you want to handle that one? I know I particularly just talked about Tiger Box, but
sure. Yeah, and absolutely, all of the Tiger products are available as software only. So you can obviously talk to Global about different storage solutions and other things that can easily be put together with the Tiger products. Pretty much, I think, Daniel, that's pretty much what you said you're doing as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we have the Tiger box servers, but yes, the other vendor storage.
Other vendor storage, yeah. So it's really, I mean, key to a lot of what we do, Nick, I think, just to stress to everyone, is the way that we handle data is purely native. So, we try and be as absolutely flexible as possible for people in terms of, how their data is moved, used, and utilized, and they can bring their own storage, bring their own preferences to that. And no matter what they do, their data is always their own. We're not going to wrap it up in any kind of proprietary layer that means they can't access it, at any other time in the future.
And that goes for kind of what syncing NAS to NAS and for like syncing
Correct.
to the cloud. It's open, right? Okay.
Absolutely. Even when we go to the cloud, you'll still see all your data in its file format. And even if you remove Tiger Bridge from that, you would simply be able to access it and download it directly from the cloud.
Yeah. And that, I guess that's what Daniel, you guys are doing with the. I guess when you originally got the Tiger module, it was I think it was called replication, but you're now using Bridge, and it's that Bridge module that you use to sync between. How much is without, if it's confidential, then feel free not to answer. How much sort of data do you kind of sync between sort of sites? Do you know what sort of volumes you move, or
roughly 4 petabytes?
Oh, okay. So it's a significant chunk of storage.
Very significant.
Cool.
He did say lots of data.
Yes, did say lots of data.
Yeah.
So perfect. And I got just actually another Tiger question about Bridge syncing to the cloud and the sync clients. I guess actually this is probably something that we'd cover a little bit more in the webinar kind of towards the end of the month. But people just asking what sync clients are currently supported. Don't know whether you're.
Well, in terms of sync clients, we do support for now as an operating system. Bridge would run on Windows workstations. Of course, as a source, you could have either the local drive, which is on a Windows file server or one of our SAN appliances. Or you can have any NAS now. With our new version, you can connect to any NAS, a Bridge gateway machine, and you can sync up to any cloud. Basically, in our new version, we also support Tiger, Google Drive, Google Cloud, and so on. So any S3 compatible.
Brilliant. Okay, perfect. Well, that's the couple of questions we had in. I guess maybe on a more personal, just to say thank you for Daniel for coming along today and sharing his experiences with Tiger. But just in general, how's the kind of like a stupid question? How's the pandemic been at EVNY? I know when we were speaking in preparation for this, I think everyone's found it challenging. But you guys, just state of the industry from your point of view, you see it sort of trending in a positive direction.
We do. I mean, obviously, it was really challenging when lockdown initially happened and getting all of that remote working happening in such a short space of time, which is the same story for everyone. But very proud of what the team's achieved. And then things went quiet production-wise. And then, luckily, things are starting to open up again now. Everyone seems to be shooting. We are seeing very busy booking sheet for the end of the year. So yeah, we are positive at the moment, and just hoping that there's not further lockdowns and everyone needs to behave themselves and distance and mask.
Indeed. So, well, thank you everyone for joining us. What I'll just do, I'm just going to quickly shoot to remind people of upcoming events. Sorry, just sharing my screen. As I said at the start, 15th of October, same time, same place. Georgi's going to take us into a much deeper dive into spaces, and then Georgi's counterpart from IMC Technologies, who is Tiger's partner for Spaces MAAM, is going to run in depth through the MAAM functionality that brings. As I said, it's web-based MAAM. browser. So really useful in this current day and age. And then on the 22nd, we're going to be talking to Alex, who's the CTO of Tiger Technology, about Tiger Bridge and cloud workflows. If you've seen some press, you might have seen Media Bridge, which is kind of a professional services wrapped around of Tiger Bridge, about how Tiger can help with Adobe workflows, moving processing to the cloud, and kind of populating the metadata back into your kind of Adobe projects and things like that. So that's all coming up towards the end of the month. But just a real quick then, thanks again to Paul, Georgi and Daniel, especially for taking time out of his hectic session. My name's Nick Warburton, as you know, from these sessions we've been doing. You can get me at Nick W at Global Distribution. Paul is available at paul.reeve at Tiger Technology. Any technical questions, Georgi Atzev at tiger-technology.com. And once again, thank you for Daniel. Thanks very much, everybody, for your time. And we shall hopefully see you on a webinar somewhere near you soon, as they say. Cheers. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Cheers.